pearlsinjesus.com. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what it's like to be a Christian and love the Lord and be in a sorority. So this is kind of spontaneous. I had this video planned out. I was going to do it in my sorority house with one of the chaplain of my sorority, which happens to be my best friend, Emily. And so we planned to do it, but it's finals week. We're both a little bit busy and flustered and short on free time. So I'm at one of my favorite places, the Henry Clay Estate, and I'm just here studying. And I remembered that around this same time last year I filmed a video here, and I decided I wanted to procrastinate studying a little longer and decided to just film it here. So I just want to start by telling you a little bit about my experience of why I rushed, why I chose the sorority I did, and then I'll talk about how to keep your faith when you're in a sorority. So coming in to freshman year of college, I wanted to rush a sorority. Like, no one in my family had ever went Greek, but I just loved the idea of what I'd heard about Greek life, just like all the crafts and pictures and getting dressed up and getting in costumes and like all of the community service, and like it just sounded so fun to me, like so many things that I enjoyed. And I'd always been surrounded by a group of women, just the community of women, because I'd cheered my entire life, and so like I wanted to transition into college with that same community of women. And so I was excited because I thought that I would love it, but a part of me was also scared because I had heard so many stereotypical things about sorority girls that so many people have heard, and that was kind of scary to me because I didn't know if I would fit in, and I was also scared that I would be kind of like changed from being around those types of things. So I just kind of like was like bluntly myself from the beginning of like rushing. I remember the very first house I went into, the sorority like asked me like what I was involved in high school, and I had mentioned that I was like a part of FCA, and so they were like, oh, we have a Bible study, like I'm sure you would love that. And so like that was the very first house I went into, and so every single house after that I like made sure to ask them like, hey, do you have a Bible study? Like, do you have women here involved in church? Like, what do you guys do for the Lord? And like I was just like did not even care. I just wanted them to know like I just want a community of people that like love the Lord. And so like they're probably like, what? But yeah, that was something I really wanted to know. And it got down to the final two houses, and I was like, it was like my life-altering decision, I felt like, and I was like sobbing like, oh my gosh, like which house do I want to be a part of forever? Like so dramatic. But like the first one, I remember this house had mentioned the Lord to me first, and every time I'd been in there they brought up the Lord to me. And so like I felt like they had such a rooted, like I just felt like the Lord there every time I was there, and I just felt like, wow, like I need this type of community to stay rooted in the Lord. And then when I thought about Delta Gamma, which is the sorority I'm in now, I remember like tears coming to my eyes, and literally I'm crying, like tears coming in my eyes, and just thinking like Delta Gamma needs me. And I just felt the Lord telling me like, you are rooted enough in me that I need you to go in and this sorority and tell them about me. And I was just like sobbing, and I was like, okay, this is where I have to go. And like I'm so thankful that that's where the Lord has led my heart, because I love my sorority. And I remember the very first day I met on bid day, I was introduced to their chaplain, and her name is Bailey Willett, and she is one of my best friends. And now I'm going to begin her wedding this summer, and I just remember she was the first person that I met that they, like on bid day, besides the people I already knew, and they were like, you know, like you have to meet her, she's our chaplain, she'd love you, like you'd love her. And like they were so right, because I do, and I love her, Bailey. And I just remember her inviting me to the Delta Gamma Bible study and taking me to our on-campus church, and just like investing in me, spending time with me, like getting coffee with me, and just like listening to my relationship with the Lord, and like being able to talk to her about so many things that were on my heart. And like that was so like impactful in my first few months here at school. And then I remember the girl who is now my big now, Kaylee Fuller, and she talked to me about the Lord during recruitment. And then because I like remember asking her if they had a Bible study, and she was like, yeah, we totally do. And like from there we just like clicked, and like I didn't know it. I thought when she became my big that the only thing we had in common was like loving the Lord, and now I know we're like the same person. But like having her take me to CSF and just like enjoying all the little things with me, and then introducing me to my grandbig who also loves the Lord, and then my roommate Emily, we went to church together, and like went to DG Bible study together, and it was just kind of like there for each other when there are events going on that like we didn't want to go to, like when there were parties and things like I wasn't really interested in going to, and me and Emily were kind of like the support for each other, that saying like, okay, let's not do this together, like let's stay in tonight and watch a movie, let's not go places that like can lead us into sin. And so like telling you about all those people, I want to emphasize how important it is to have a community of people that lead you closer to Jesus. And I know it can sometimes be hard to find. The Lord kind of just threw all these Jesus-loving people in my lap, which I'm so thankful for, but don't ever think that there's not someone around you that loves the Lord, because there is always someone in a room. I would go to say that there's always someone in the room that's seeking the Lord. So maybe you're the person that leads that person to the Lord, or maybe like you're struggling and you can like invite someone to church with you and you just kind of go together. But I really don't know if I would be the woman that I am, even being in a sorority, if I wouldn't have had this community. And then those were just the, 4 women that made such an impact on me. Was that 3 or 4? I don't know. But those were just women that like really invested in me and just like made my time here at school like so wonderful. And like really encouraged me to love the Lord. And I think that helps every woman, is to have a community of people. So like look for that community. Go to your on-campus church. It doesn't have to just be in your sorority. Maybe you can be the light in your sorority that other people, don't have. And so I think that's important. I think it's important that you purposely take time to read the Word. That's always so essential. But like looking at different times during school when I struggled, or when I was just like unsure, like I remember like there was times when I was struggling, just having the worst days, and I like look back on those times when I didn't make time to read my Bible or to spend time with the Lord, and then just like when I would take the intentional time to get up early in the morning or go to bed reading my Bible, it just like made such an impact on my day. Because when I would have these thoughts of like, wow, all these girls around me are having so much more fun than me, or like, wow, I really don't fit in with all these people around me, like why am I so different from all the 300 women in my sorority, like how am I so different from them? Or like, wow, should I be doing that? Like as a 20-year-old woman, should I take, like, does that make me weird? Like, because it, like, and when I have these lies that the enemy were telling me, like, I could like just like rebuke those things, because I had this scripture like planted in my head, like, no, I am chosen, I am beloved, I am a woman that's clothed in strength and dignity, that laughs without fear of the future. And I have these words in my head of what a woman of God looks like, and saying like, it's okay that I'm different, it's okay that I'm doing something different, because maybe my actions are making an impact on the women around me. And so like just reading the Word and knowing that I'm a woman of God and it's okay that I'm different. And I think it helps you not to care as much about what people think of you. You can just kind of be grounded in the fact that you're a woman of God, and like that's enough. And so like I think that's so important. And then to have a community of believers outside of your like sorority too. And I think another thing that had a big impact on me was having a mentor. Some of my mentors were older women in my sorority, but also I have other like communities of believers outside of that, like at CSF, and I'm involved in another organization for women called Lane of Roses, and it's just like a women's ministry that does empower sorority women as well. And so I had mentors there, and I just found activities. I kept myself busy in things that like weren't, like bad for me or whatever, but those are things that I think are so important. I think like focusing on school and focusing on like fun things with people outside of parties and things make a difference, make an impact. It was hard for me at times, because like I did like want to get dressed up and I wanted to go to those things, and I remember telling my roommate last year, like, I think that I want to go to these parties, like I don't really have a desire to drink, but I just want to go like so I can get all dressed up. And like there's a bug. Anyways, like, and I was like, so I kind of want to go sometimes. And she said, like, well, so, like, you might not be tempted to drink, but sometimes I am, and, like, I don't want to go because I don't want to put myself in that situation. And so we kind of, like, kept each other accountable. So, like, I didn't want to take my friend somewhere that would make her want to do something that she shouldn't, and she didn't want to take me there because she knew, like, how degrading those things can be to you as a woman. And so I think we kind of lifted each other up and evened each other out, and, like, helped each other and say, like, well, let's go to a movie tonight, let's get dressed up and go to dinner, let's go hang out with a group of friends, let's go to a worship night. And so I think that we just have had so much fun growing in the Lord together. So even though Emily's not here, I'm just gonna tell you about how amazing she is, and just, like, praising her for being my best friend and all the things she's done since I've got to know her in Delta Gamma. And then I'll end this. But I just, like, watched her grow in the Lord, and I can't be more thankful for her, because I remember, like, she had so many questions last year, and, like, was, like, uncertain of, like, you know, what she wanted to know about the Lord. And, like, I've just watched her, like, unfold this life with the Lord and, like, answer those questions, and now she, like, gets to tell the good news to, like, our chapter. And, like, I just see this light in her that's, like, blossoming, and, like, she's, like, helped me so much in my journey with the Lord, and, like, lifting me up. I could tell her literally anything. I do. And it's just, like, so great to have that best friend and that someone that loves the Lord. So, like, make intentional friendships with people that love the Lord, and don't not talk to people that don't. But it just helps to have people who feel the same way about the Lord as you do. And so, like, those are just the tips I have. Like, find a community of believers in your sorority, and if you don't have one, sororities aren't for everyone. It's totally okay if you don't like it, but that's just, like, what's helped me. I've been super involved in my sorority with a position, so that's kept me busy. So, like, find a community of believers, people that feel the same way in your sorority. Find a mentor in a community of believers outside of your sorority, just in your college community, at a church, and keep yourself busy. Do things that are fun, that don't get you in trouble, because you can have so much fun in college without being drunk, without drinking, without, you know, going to parties. There's so many fulfilling things that I've done in college that weren't just, you know, hanging out in my dorm room. Like, there were so many fun things that I've done, and so, like, keep yourself busy, focus on school, and just do fun things with your friends, and don't be afraid to be bold and to tell those things to people. And those are just some tips I have. Like, read the Word, get to know the Lord better on your own, and He will just satisfy your heart. And like I said, sororities aren't for everyone. That's totally okay. But this is just my experience of loving the Lord and being in a sorority, and just, like, being a light when there isn't one. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm thankful for all of you and for all of your hearts, and I love you. Bye. Say that is honestly the main thing that had such an impact on me in rushing Delta Gamma was, no, that's not what I meant to say. I've been planning to do it for, hold on, someone's staring at me. Oh my gosh.